Hello, welcome. My name's Tina from Simply in Stitches, and today I am going to be showing you how I make my project bags. This has been a very requested video that I've resisted because there are so many fantastic project bag videos out there. But I thought, okay, if everyone wants to know, then what I want to do with this video is to make it the simplest, easy, beginner method possible. And so I know a lot of people say they have trouble following along with some of the other videos. So please don't take this video as patronising if you are a sewer. I am aiming this so that anybody can have a go. So yeah, with that said, let me show you the bags that we are making. So this is my basic bag. And so it is a good size for my cross stitch and for my knitting. It's got a top zip. The seams are all fully enclosed in there, and yeah, it's just a basic one. It hasn't got a flat bottom, but it does stand up when there's things in it. It is big enough that we had all my a sweater project in. This one, you can see I use different fabrics. We're just going to use one fabric today to keep it simple, but you can change it up just by putting pieces of fabric together. And it's big enough if you're a cross stitcher to have a whole box of MDC, DMC. This is going to go well. Yeah, it's big enough that will fit in hoops and everything. That's why I like it. But it also means when I'm storing them, it will lay completely flat, so I can just have them in a little pile and choose when I start a new project. I can choose which one I want to use. So yeah, they can look completely different just by using the same method, and any amount of fabric. So if you want to do some stripes of different fabric, if you've got a precious fabric but only got a scrap left that you want to incorporate into something, then you can use other fabric around it just to make up your square of what size you want. I also like these bags because downstairs I've got a hamper. I shall show you. I keep this downstairs, so I've got my projects, so they just fit in nicely there. They all stack together nicely with the projects in. So it just keeps it tidy downstairs, but I can have different projects on the go for my knitting and cross stitch to just pull out them when I want to. They are my bags and why I like to make them. So let's move into actual what you'll need. I will put date stamps underneath the video, so if you're coming back to this and you just want to zoom past all the chatty bits that you don't need, then you can just go to the date stamps of what part we're up to in the video. So you will need, fabric wise, the bags I meant, it's 14 inches by 14 inch square. So you need 2 outer pieces. That is 36 centimetres square if you prefer centimetres. So we got 2 outer pieces, 2 inner lining pieces, exactly the same size. And then you want 2 pieces of interfacing. Interfacing is optional. I've got a bag here that has no interfacing, and as you'll see, it scrunches down. So this would be really good if you're traveling, because it literally goes down to nothing. So you can make it as big as you want to for the project you've got inside. Oh, going back to what I was saying before, another reason I like these bags is because when you're working with them, you can just turn them over so your zip is out of the way, and then you've got a little bucket to work with. So your yarn can be inside and you're pulling from that, and it hasn't got any of the zip there. So that's another reason why I like this bag. So to recap, we have got 2 outer pieces, 14 by 14 inches, 2 lining pieces, 14 by 14 inches, 2 pieces of interfacing, 14 by 14. So the first thing I'm going to do is iron on interfacing. So I am going to iron on my 2 pieces of interfacing to my outer fabric, obviously on the back of my outer fabric. So if you've never used this before, you will see on it, might mean not on camera, but you can see it's shiny on one side, that's the glue, and it's matte on the other. So we are going to have shiny side down onto the reverse of the outside fabric. So I am going to press that on first of all. Okay, so you have put your interfacing onto the back of your front 2 pieces. And so you are going to need a zip first, because we're going to do the zip part first. Now, when choosing a zip, I like to have a zip that is longer, doesn't have to be this much longer, but longer than the project, because it actually makes it easier to put the zip in. Because the hardest part of the zip, well, apart from keeping it straight obviously, is the pull tab when you are trying to sew close to the zip and you've got this sticking out. So I prefer to have a zip, so when I'm sewing the zip on, I can have the pull tab out of the way, so I can sew all the way across just in a straight line. Please make sure that you don't cut that piece off. It's never happened to me yet, and I am the sort of person that would do it, but yeah, just please beware to make sure you don't cut that off until you have finished your bag. I shall tell you when to cut this off, but make sure that when you cut the end off that your zip is further down, otherwise you're not going to be able to use it. And don't think that would never happen. I'm glad you're the sort of person it never happened to, but it was the sort of thing that happens to me all the time. So yes, I like to have a zip that's longer. So let me change the camera around so you're pointing downwards so you can see how we're going to layer our little zip sandwich to sew. Okay, so to make our zipper sandwich, your lining fabric goes on first, face up. Make sure that it's the right way. Obviously the zip's along here, so that's the top. So you line your zip up exactly along that top edge there. The zip is face up as well, so you have your little pulley facing you, and then your outer fabric is going to go face down on top of that. Still make sure that you have it heading in the right direction. If you've got a directional fabric, because I've done this myself before, make sure it is the way you want it to be. So the top of your outer fabric goes on top there, so you have got right sides facing together, bottom one's facing up, zips facing up, outer layer facing down. So now I need to line that up and put all my pins in. So I'm just going to do that now. Okay, so I have pinned all the way along there. You can use more pins if you want to, whatever makes you feel comfortable, to get that lined up nicely at the top there. I would like to say, because I forgot to say before, I think, that if you are going to do this method of cutting the zip, please make sure it's not a metal teeth. You can only do this with the plastic teeth, because obviously the metal is harder. So yeah, bear in mind that. I think most zips are plastic that you buy now, but just in case you've got some, please make sure that it's plastic if you're going to cut those off. So now I've made my little zip sandwich, we need to go over to the sewing machine, and we're just going to sew along that top line with a zipper foot. So let's have a look at the zipper foot. Okay, so first of all we're going to change the foot to a zipper foot. This is a zipper foot. Let me just take the other one off and you'll see the difference. So this is usual foot, just the walking foot that I usually use. And so because I want to get closer to the zip, you can use which side you put the zip onto. So I'm going to put it onto this left side on the machine. Okay, so we're all ready with the zipper foot. So let's start sewing. Okay, so I am going to sew along the edge now. You may be able to see just here where that line is in the middle. I'm going to use that as a guide to go along that edge so that I know, if I put my needle down, I know that I'm going to keep that as straight as I can, she says with her fingers crossed. So I'm just going to go straight along there and out the other side. Another trick I've learned is to always start with your needle in the fabric. It seems to stop it from all getting caught up. I like to take my pins out as I go. You can go over your pins, but I'm a scaredy cat. So yeah, I'm just going to follow that line and try and keep that centered along there. So let's take a look. So we have the zip at the front and then it's all enclosed in the back. So now we need to do our sandwich for the other side. Okay, so we're going to do the same on the other side. Can I just say that if you tap your screen, there'll be 3 dots come up on the top right of the screen. If you click on that, then you can change the speed. So if I go too fast through something and you want to go back and watch it again at a slower speed, you will then come up with a speed. You can choose a slower speed, or if you want to maybe to go faster, you can do it so faster. But it's the top right hand corner. Tap on your screen, 3 dots will appear. Tap on those 3 dots and then you can change the speed to what you are more comfortable with. So let's do our sandwich. So for this one, we have got our lining fabric facing up. We have got the zip we have just sewn in facing up, and then we've got the other outer side facing down. So we've got the 2 right sides of the outer fabric facing each other, and we've got the inner fabrics facing each other. So I'm going to line that up once again, put my pins in, and then sew along just like we did on the other side. Okay, so we've done the other side. So we've got the zip attached this side, and we've also got it attached to the other side. So what I'm going to do now is give it a really good press, and then we're going to top stitch down the front, just so that that fabric stays right out of the way. Okay, so I have ironed that really nice and flat so it's well away from the zip and all nicely pressed. So now I'm going to do some top stitching, and that just means a line of stitching that's going to stop that fabric coming up, especially the inner fabric, and getting caught in the zip. So I'm using black because I want it to disappear as much as possible, because I'm not good at straight lines. You could do a decorative stitch with this if you wanted, or a different colour if you're confident, but I'm just going to use my black. So I'm using this edge of the foot this time to go along that edge to keep me straight. And so yeah, I'm just going to stitch along there both sides. I'm still using my zipper foot, but I will be changing that after this. But at the moment, still the zipper foot, lining up there and just doing a straight line all the way along. When you have top stitched both sides, you're now ready to put your bag together. So the first thing we're going to do, the most important thing, is we are going to open the zip. Please do not forget to do this, because otherwise if you sew your zip round, you are not going to be able to turn it around the right way. So open your zip now. Okay, once your zip is open, then we're going to put your 2 inner sides together, and your two outer sides together. Let me move you up so you can see. Okay, so we are going to start where the zip is first of all. So you're going to need some clips or pins. We want the teeth of the zip to go towards the back. I hope you can see that. So those teeth are going into the lining of the fabric, not into the main outer side. So this should go naturally, because you top stitch, it should naturally want to do that. So I am going to pin those. The side where the zip is open will be easier. So we've got our teeth going into the lining fabric. The next part is we need to pin it all the way around. So we have got our teeth facing of our zip facing into the lining. We've got our right sides together on the front fabric and also the lining fabric. And so we are going to start pinning at the lining. Now we need a gap that we can put our hand in to turn this the right way. So I've used red pins to remind me that that is where my gap's going to be. And so I have pinned all the way around. And yeah, so when we sew, we're going to start here and sew all the way around in one go, coming back to that second one and stop. I would recommend you go backwards and forwards when you're sewing to reinforce these, because you're obviously going to pull the whole bag through, so we want to make sure that's secure there. So let's go to do your pinning, and then the next part will be at the sewing machine. Okay, so we're going to sew all the way around. So I have changed my foot to my walking foot, my general foot, and so I am using the side of that foot to guide me along the edge, so I have the same edge all the way around. So let's come up to that first corner. I can't reach the pedal. So we started off on that red pin after the gap. We've come along the first edge. I've got my needle down and I'm going to pick up the foot for the corner, turn the fabric round, lower the foot, and then I'm going to carry on all the way around the bag till I get to the opening of that gap again. Take your time over the zip. It's just the same stitch over the zip, but obviously there is more fabric there, so just take it slowly. So I'm coming up to that red marker again, so I'm just going to take that out. Then I'm going to reverse just to make that a bit stronger. Whoops, and the sewing machine falls apart. That's the way we roll. Snip your little threads. And now let's move over and we'll show you what's going to happen next. Okay, so now we're going to go around and just snip off all of the excess on all of the corners. And also we're just going to snip that extra on the zip. So once you've done all your corners and both sides of your zip, comes the exciting part. So we're going to put our hand into the gap. We're going to say a little thanks that we remembered to undo that zip, and just take your corners and bring it through to the other side. So then you've just got to push all that in the right way. What I like to use something blunt. I like the end of this because it's not going to go through. Don't use a pencil or something, but you need a pokey tool of some sort. So you can just go round poking through all of those corners so they come out all nicely. So I'm going to carry on doing this for a moment, and then we will go on to the final stage. You're nearly there. Once you've done all your corners, then you just need to give it a good press. That gap that we left, if you just pull it tight and press it, that will naturally just turn in, and you can just put just a run of stitching along there. Once that's done, you can also hand stitch if you wanted it to be invisible, but it's going to be at the bottom of your bag. Once that's done, you can tuck your lining into the bag, and you're all ready for your project. So yeah, if you wanted to turn it down for knitting, you can. It's up to you if you want to see that pretty lining. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful. If you have, I have got a Ko-fi account, and I'm very grateful to everybody that supports the channel, and I shall link that underneath if you would like to buy me a coffee. So thank you so much for joining me today. Happy crafting, and I'll see you again hopefully in our next regular video. Bye for now.